You might like the idea of getting caught in the rain, but maybe skip that Piña Colada. From tropical tiki favorites to kitchen sink monstrosities, here's what to avoid at the bar when you're on a budget. Popular for its fruity, easy-to-drink taste, the Sex on the Beach is a weird holdover from the late 80s and 90s.
The sex on the beach? Yeah! The schnapps made from peach?
First created in Florida in the Reagan era, the sweet, tart, bright pink drink typically contains vodka, peach schnapps, orange juice, and cranberry juice. Like many fads, it caught on because of its playful and tropical beachy vibe, and has never truly gone away since. Yet while everybody knows about a Sex on the Beach, few serious cocktail aficionados appreciate the drink or respect it at all. Even when it's sold for bargain basement prices as a special at a bar, it generally turns out pretty terrible, says Rob Hara, an instructor and course specialist for the online mixology school A Bar Above. He explains, "This drink is always rushed by bartenders and they typically aren't measuring out any of the ingredients. It's almost always overly juicy or overly boozy. Most bartenders assume that if you're ordering a Sex on the Beach, you may not know how to drink, so why would they bother with caring how it comes out?" In general, Hara says this is one beach you may want to avoid. The origins of the Long Island iced tea are debatable. Some say it was a Prohibition-era concoction dreamed up to help folks get drunk quickly when liquor was banned. Others claim the mad scientist mixture originated in a 1970s bartending competition. But there are two things almost everyone who has tried the drink can agree on. It's gonna give you a hangover, and it's never actually as good as you hope it's going to be. The Long Island iced tea is actually a major misnomer. It doesn't contain tea at all. Instead, the drink contains a potent mixture of vodka, gin, rum, tequila, triple sec, plus a splash of cola to give it its signature color. Charles Oates, owner and master trainer at the Connecticut School of Bartending, says, "One day someone got the smart idea to try and combine all the sour drinks, and it tasted terrible. You can add Coca-Cola to hide that nastiness, but it's generally terrible." Hara agrees, saying, "It is by design completely off balance and super boozy. You don't order this to enjoy it, you order it to get drunk. And bartenders know that, so they don't even bother trying to make it taste good. They just want to see your face when you drink it."
Yes, I love Long Island iced teas.
Excellent!
Famous for its summer vacation and beach resort vibe, Blue Hawaiians are a favorite among many cocktail enthusiasts around the world. And what's not to love? The drink combines exotic rums, fresh crisp pineapple juice, decadent coconut cream, plus blue curacao for that distinct flavor and ocean blue color. Sounds delicious, right? So what's the problem? Unfortunately, unless you're ordering the drink from a tropical bar right on the beach, you probably aren't going to get a great tasting cocktail made with high-quality ingredients. Instead, our experts say your glass is likely to be filled with a bunch of cheap imposter flavors, many of which sit around behind a bar for months because they just aren't used frequently enough to be replaced very often. Hara says, "The Blue Hawaiian is one of those cocktails that dumbs down the tiki cocktail scene in my opinion. It gets the unfortunate combination of cheap artificial ingredients, questionable spirit combinations, and bartenders rushing to get it away from their bar." Oat agrees, saying there's nothing inherently wrong with Blue Hawaiians. They just tend to be made really bad in a lot of bars. Believed to be the creation of a 1990s-era Los Angeles bartender, the Appletini became a drink of choice, for a minute at least, for the Hollywood A-list.
An Appletini? Cute.
The drink typically contains vodka, apple schnapps, plus a generous splash of sweet and sour mix. Most variations also include some form of fruit juice such as apple juice or lemon juice to add flavor and complexity. Oat warns, Appletinis and other cocktails containing fruit juice can be a bad idea in a bar that doesn't sell a lot of that kind of drink. The juices can get mixed in the bartending gun and they may have been left sitting in the basement for who knows how long. Hara agrees, saying that in most bars, and especially bars where they are sold cheaply, Appletinis are a mistake. He says, "First, this cocktail is not an actual martini. This cocktail is almost always one of two things, either overly sweet or overly sour. I have seen bartenders try to rework this cocktail with some success, but those success stories are a very far departure from the original uber-sweet recipe." A drink for novices, the Fuzzy Navel is a classic cocktail beloved for its sweet and fruity taste. Created as a variation of the screwdriver with peach-flavored schnapps swapped in place of vodka, this OJ-infused drink screams summer and can be incredibly refreshing, especially when served over ice in a tall glass and garnished with a slice of peach or a cherry. The problem with the fuzzy navel, however, especially when made and sold cheaply, is that it's just too simple, and bartenders rarely work very hard to make it taste its best. Hera warns, most two-part cocktails like this are never measured out, so you never know if you're getting a super boozy or super juicy cocktail. And once again, Ode agrees. He says, a bartender that doesn't care will just pour a bunch of orange juice and schnapps into a glass, shake it up, and hand it to you. It might be okay, but more often than not, it won't be a drink that you are happy with, he says. No Drink says, I'm looking to stay out all night and party more than the ever-popular Jägerbomb. This potent, high-energy favorite for young adults around the world tends to be cheap, and it also tends to taste incredibly bad. Believed to have been dreamed up by a bartender in Germany in the early 2000s, the cocktail pairs classic Jägermeister with common energy drinks. To make it, a bartender just has to drop a shot of Jäger into a partially filled glass containing an energy drink, and voila! You've got an instant, high-voltage, caffeine-fueled cocktail. Sadly, Hera says no bartender actually cares how it comes together. And because of the way it's made, the Jägerbomb is a hopelessly bad cocktail, regardless of its price. He says, there is nothing fixable about this cocktail because it's not a cocktail, it's a gimmick. People should stay away from cocktails made with energy drinks in the first place. Aside from the taste, it's also bad for your body. Hera adds, there is no hangover worse than the one you get from drink combinations like this. And yes, you will be hungover drinking these.
Some of us maybe had 7 too many Jägerbombs last night.
Just one too many. The other 6 were a perfection.
Tropical cocktails tend to be among the biggest losers in bars, made with poor quality, artificial tasting ingredients, or blended up adding old juices or cheap mixers the bars are anxious to be rid of. And nowhere does this abuse tend to happen more than with the incredible Piña Colada. In the right hands, the Piña Colada can be a delight, combining the best island flavors. You've got crisp, sweet rum, indulgent coconut cream, and tart fresh pineapple juice, all blended together into one super creamy, frothy, and delicious libation.
If you like Piña Colada.
But according to Ode, because of its strong, overpowering fruit flavor, Piña Coladas can be a great place for bars to use up excess cheap house spirits they may have had on hand, instead of opting for high-quality, better-tasting alcohol. Hera says that a bad piña colada typically happens when a bartender is just throwing ingredients into a blender. He adds, when done right, the piña colada is an amazing cocktail. However, it has been so badly bastardized through the years. A popular after-dinner cocktail, the Mudslide was inspired by chocolate cakes and ice cream. The drink gets its name from its rich, thick, mud-like texture and typically contains vodka, coffee liqueur, and Irish cream. Those ingredients are paired with ice and chocolate syrup, and everything is then blended together until it reaches a milkshake-like consistency. Sounds great, right? Well, according to Ode, drinks with dairy can be questionable, depending on how often a bar sells them. Watch your bartender's face when you order. If you see him thinking, where the hell's the milk, or do we have any cream, then avoid the drinks. Hera has his own reasons for being wary of cheap mudslides. He warns, there are so many things that can go wrong here. It can congeal, it can separate and look horrifying. Again, if it's made with low-quality ingredients that are just thrown together, the cocktail won't be good. Known for its bright and colorful appearance, the Tequila Sunrise was created in Mexico in the 1930s and was inspired by the region's colorful dawns. In no time, it was a favorite for tourists and locals alike. As cocktails go, it's a fairly simple one: tequila, orange juice, and grenadine syrup, poured into a specific order to create just the right distinctive red and orange sunrise hues. With its sweet and tangy flavors, the Tequila Sunrise is the ideal refreshment on a hot day, but it's also the kind of cocktail that can be ruined when sold cheaply by uncaring bartenders looking to churn through their orders quickly. Ode warns of the potential problems with the grenadine, saying, it can be incredibly sweet and overpower your drink, and there's also the question of how long has it been there. Some bars don't go through grenadine that quickly, so it's one of those ingredients that can sit around behind the bar for months or years. And according to Hera, the Tequila Sunrise is another cocktail that tends to be thrown together. It's also made with cheap ingredients most of the time. Combos like this almost always turn into something you regret ordering. This classic cocktail was created in the early 20th century and inspired by the flavors of classic desserts such as mint chocolate chip ice cream. The Grasshopper gets its name from its bright green insect-like color. Although there are a number of regional variations, the drink is typically made with crème de menthe, crème de cacao, and heavy cream. All three ingredients are shaken together with ice and then strained into a glass and garnished with a sprig of mint. A sweet and indulgent cocktail, the Grasshopper has a number of factors going against it, especially if you order a cheap version at your local bar of choice. For starters, creme de menthe and creme de cacao are not overly popular spirits, so if a bar carries them at all, they tend to be fairly old. Because they have such strong flavors, both also tend to be overly sweet and artificially flavored, leaving them overpowering at best. Finally, since the drink also contains heavy cream, there's always the potential the bar won't have it, or it too will be old and on the verge of spoiling. According to Hera, the Grasshopper is another one of those cocktails that is going to be thrown together with cheap ingredients and little care. But the drink does have potential. The trick, he says, is to order it at the right bar. With its vibrant color, bold peach and orange flavor, and deep southern roots, the Alabama Slammer is in many ways the South's answer to all those fruity rum-based drinks so popular in the Caribbean. Created in the US in the 1970s, the drink typically contains Southern Comfort, amaretto, sloe gin, and orange juice. The ingredients are shaken together with ice and then strained into a glass with the resulting flavor so powerful, it's supposed to slam your taste buds, hence the name Alabama Slammer. Despite that flavor punch, the cocktail, and cheap version of the drink in particular, often runs into problems, says Hera. While it can be a fun one to drink, he says, when the ingredients are just thrown together, it becomes a giant booze bomb.